Give you the information you need and give you facts, not conjecture, give you real news, not fake news. And this is the place to find it, AUTV.
The voice of higher education in Africa.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAUTV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAUTV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAUTV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAUTV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAUTV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAUTV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Good day and you're welcome to the Hello Africa Morning Show. We are coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities here in Accra, Ghana. My name is Jemima Daladem Duchi. And now to our top African news. A former Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Ellis Owusu-Dabo, has urged University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development to redesign its postgraduate education around interdisciplinary, impact-oriented research. He said doing so would strengthen the university contribution to a more resilient nation and help create meaningful jobs for the youth. He made this remark while delivering the keynote address at the opening of USD's third postgraduate research conference in Kumasi, held under the theme, Interdisciplinary Research for a Resilient Future, the contribution of postgraduate studies.
For Professor Owusu-Dabo, the foundation for change had already been laid, and that what remained was a collective decision to move from aspirations to deliberate design and implementation, adding that if University of Skill Training and Entrepreneurial Development succeeded, it would become a template for other universities to follow. He said the future of postgraduate training could not be a slightly updated version of the traditional academic model, proposing that universities cultivate hybrid postgraduate programs where graduates lead with deep technical or vocational competencies alongside research capabilities. He said, in addition to the traditional thesis, institutions should recognize high-quality profiles that could include prototypes, enterprise models, policy briefs, and community or industry impact. He noted that many postgraduate programs remain thesis-driven and disconnected from practice, citing recent analysis of doctoral education, which found that most candidates feel their training prepared them for academic publishing rather than for solving real technical, industrial, and community problems. He said industry and community co-supervision of postgraduate work remain the exception rather than the norm, resulting in research questions shaped too often by academic curiosity alone rather than pressing real-world problems. The Vice-Chancellor of USTED, Professor Frederick Kweku-Safo, said challenges such as climate change, technical disruptions, food insecurity, public health crisis, and unemployment could not be addressed through isolated disciplinary approaches, but required collaboration across fields of study and practical application of knowledge. The Dean of the School of Graduate Study of USTED, Professor Humphrey Danso, who chaired the event, said global challenges demand interdisciplinary methods and create partnerships to solve.
Moving on, the Design and Technology Institute has held the 2026 Student Project Exhibition at its campus in Accra, gathering industry leaders, tech enthusiasts, and global development partners to view student innovation. Held under the theme, Creative Minds, Sustainable Solutions, the event serves as a launch pad for the final year students to showcase prototypes addressing socio-economic and environmental challenges. Attendees, including representatives from the MasterCard Foundation, toured inventions ranging from agricultural machinery to automated recycling units in precision welding equipment built for international standards.
Student teams pitch functional prototypes targeting regional issues such as plastic waste, water sanitation, and e-waste management. Industry evaluators praised the integration of computer-aided design and manufacturing workflows into the students' creations, noting that the mechanical integrity and market readiness of the prototypes could help bridge the technical skills gap in the sub-region's industrial sector. DTI's leadership called for deeper corporate alliances, urging industrial partners to engage through graduate hiring pipelines, internships, and machinery sponsorships. The Deputy Director General for Corporate Services at the Commission for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, Zakaria Abdul Rahman, said TVET curriculum must be driven by industry needs to ensure graduates are job-ready. He said training programs should align with market demand rather than be developed in isolation, describing a collaborative model in which industry helps articulate requirements and co-develop curricula with the goal of trainees fitting into industry and building meaningful livelihoods upon completion. Mr. Abdul Rahman noted that students undergo substantial industry placements as part of a workplace learning approach that follows classroom instruction. He highlighted opportunities for experienced but uncertified workers, such as tradespeople already working in their fields, to be attached to the institutions for formal training that blends practical experience with theory to elevate their competence and credentials. He acknowledged government support for TVET and called for sustained resourcing to preserve its hands-on character.
The death of Cambridge academic professor Jason Ade days after he resigned amid plagiarism and biography accusations has prompted renewed calls for universities to better protect staff from sustained media attacks. In a personal encounter, Professor Colleen Fowler, who says she experienced similar press abuse after authoring a 2020 National Trust report, argues that Ade's case became caught up in a wider culture war, despite the University of Liverpool John Moores clearing him of the allegations against him. She is calling on universities to treat media abuse of academics, particularly those from underrepresented groups, as a routine institutional risk requiring formal support system, not an occasional crisis.
Professor Fowler writes that Ade, a young black academic at an elite institution, came under intense public scrutiny after the allegations surfaced, with even some critical journalists acknowledging that the accusations appeared to originate from an organized campaign against him. She said that although the university that awarded his doctorate vindicated him, the controversy continued to escalate in the press. She draws a parallel with her own experience, describing sustained press attacks, public threats, and questioning of her professional credibility following her own research publication. Fowler argues that media abuse of academics, especially academics of color, women, and others with protected characteristics, has become a daily occurrence rather than a rare event, and that universities often respond by protecting institutional reputation rather than supporting the individual under attack. She points to her own university's hostile response to research policy as a model which sets out steps including identifying research topics likely to draw media backlash in advance, appointing round-the-clock points of contact, and deploying rapid support report covering security, communications, and legal advice. She is calling on university leaders to prioritize the well-being of academics under attack, offer counseling in severe cases, and issue public statements of support, arguing that institutions have a duty of care towards staff targeted by a press operating with limited independent oversight. She writes that she is publishing the piece in Professor Adi's memory with the hope that it prompts institutional change.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Welcome back, and we apologize for the technical hitch. Moving on, MTN Ghana is using its 2026 Sustainability Month to deepen awareness of responsible business practices among staff, customers, and small businesses with activities focused on waste management, environmental protection, and access to digital services. The Acting General Manager for Sustainability and Shared Value at MTN Ghana, Georgina Asari Fiagbenu, said the company had planned one internal and one external activity every week throughout the month to balance engagement between employees and the wider community. Speaking on Joy FM's Super Morning Show, she said activities so far had included staff competition across departmental sustainability discussion and a visit to our compost and recycling plant.
Ms. Asari Fiagbenu revealed that the month began with an internal lunch, followed by competitions to test staff knowledge of sustainability before moving into a lunch and learn session dubbed ESG in your zone, which brought together teams from energy, human resources, ethics, and commercial operations to discuss how sustainability applied to their daily work. She said the commercial team's discussions covered both revenue generation and expanding access to broadband, noting that telecommunications access was increasingly becoming essential to people's daily lives, comparable to basic rights, with MTN working with equipment providers to make internet access more affordable and safer. She said staff also visited the Accra composite and recycling plant to better understand the scale of the city's waste challenge, disclosing that Accra generates about 4,000 tons of refuse daily, but only around half of that is currently recycled. She said the visit reinforced the need for both MTN staff and the wider public to reject irresponsible waste disposal, pointing to practices in other countries where consumers are encouraged to reuse shopping bags and are charged for requesting plastic ones. MTN Business, Ms. Asari Fiagbenu noted, had brought together about 120 small and medium-sized enterprises for a sustainability engagement with the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, expected to train them on adopting sustainable practices, stressing that businesses needed to balance growth and social and environmental responsibility. She said the month would also include a tree planting exercise and a staff garden club developed with the human resource teams to encourage employees to grow their own food, describing food sustainability as an important part of responsible living, regardless of how much space one has.
The AFCM23 Rebel Alliance in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo is tightening movement restrictions after 2 travelers from a government-held area tested positive for Ebola in rebel-controlled territory. Shared taxis on the Goma-Kirumba road will be suspended for 1 month from Saturday, alongside passenger boats on some routes across Lake Edward. Through those taxi buses and goods trucks will continue operating under health controls. The restrictions comes as government data shows confirmed Ebola infections have surpassed 5,000, with the death toll climbing to 2,378, marking it the largest outbreak in the country's history and the second largest recorded globally.
The restrictions highlight the difficulty of containing an outbreak in a region divided by ongoing armed conflict. AFCM23 controls large parts of North and South Kivu after capturing Goma and Bukavu during its 2025 offensive, and has established its own health response in areas under its control, separate from authorities in Kinshasa, having declared those areas Ebola-free in late June. The current outbreak is caused by the Bundibuyo species of Ebola, for which there are no approved vaccines or treatments, with health officials citing delayed detection, weak health infrastructure, insecurity, and community resistance as key obstacles to slowing transmission. Health experts have repeatedly warned that travel and trade networks in Eastern Congo complicate efforts to trace contacts and isolate infections, with the outbreak having already spread to a 6th province after a death was reported in northeastern Basuele earlier this month. The World Health Organization says the outbreak can still be brought under control within 3 months, but only if sufficient resources are mobilized, having so far raised about 60% of the $150 million it estimates is needed. The agency knows that 70 to 80% of newly detected cases have no known epidemiological links, suggesting transmission remains widespread and difficult to trace as authorities try to limit cross-frontline spread without cutting off essential supplies to affected communities.
That is all for the top African news. My name is Jemima Daladam Duchi. Up next is News Review. Stay tuned.
Are you a university, college, high school, private organization, NGO, individual professor, instructor or facilitator seeking to take advantage of the numerous benefits of online education? Look no further. The AAU eLearn Africa LMS is a great opportunity to begin your journey to online course development and creation for teaching, learning and training purposes. AAU eLearn Africa LMS, which is a partnership between the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa, has made available easy-to-use online learning tools to all stakeholders within the educational ecosystem of the African continent. This is to enhance teaching and learning in the bid to expand online learning opportunities for students in Africa. The online platform is open and available for free to all stakeholders and facilitates virtual access to classes without needing the other tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, among others. For more information, visit www.elearnafricalms.com or contact us via aaulms@aau.org or estherm@elearnafrica.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at AAU eLearn Africa LMS.
Ever wondered what drives ordinary people to do extraordinary things? Every week, a new story unfolds. But these aren't just stories. They are the journeys of courage, resilience, and vision. On Impact Stories, we open the door to remarkable personalities and everyday heroes. Experience the passion behind their purpose. Witness the setbacks, the breakthroughs, and the moment that defines a legacy. Journey with us on AAU TV every Saturday at 4 p.m. as we celebrate those who are making an impact. Tune in to Impact Stories, where real people share real journeys and real impact, each one leaving behind a legacy written in gold, only on AAU TV.
Hello Africa, keep watching AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Welcome back from that break, and this is still the Hello Africa Morning Show, coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities here in Accra, Ghana. And we are just going to get into our news discussion. But just before that, just so you know, I'm doing this with my colleague, Jemima Adeladem Duche. How are you doing, Jemima?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And how was your weekend?
Very restful, actually. Very restful.
Okay.
An intentional rest.
Okay, it shows on your face. Mine wasn't, but I'll be fine.
For the past weeks, it has. Okay, anyway, so we'll talk about.
Don't worry,
that.
I'll be fine. I will be fine. All right, so we'll get straight into our first story today, and we'll begin from Uganda. So the growing numbers of Ugandans are learning Mandarin Chinese, not merely as a foreign language, but as a perceived pathway to employment, academic mobility, and participation in a changing global economy. The trend reflects Uganda's deepening economic relationship with China, visible in major projects such as the Karuma Hydroelectric Power Project and Kampala and Tembe Expressway. Makerere University's Chinese language program, launched through a Confucius Institute in 2014, has grown from 30 students to roughly 5,000 learners, raising questions about how or whether this expansion represents genuine opportunity or a new form of educational influence. Jemima, do you speak any Chinese or Mandarin?
No, please.
You haven't traveled to China yet?
No.
Okay.
Will you take me there? Actually, yes, I want to go there because I saw a friend who went there. I mean, they did a video. My friend has a YouTube channel, so they did this capturing.
Okay.
And it's actually a place I want to go, honestly.
Okay. Then you should be willing to learn the Mandarin language.
Yeah, sure. We'll see about that.
Okay, good. All right. So anyway, back to the story in Uganda. I remember a few weeks ago we talked about this on the show, where Ghana's education minister has also proposed that Chinese or the Mandarin language will be learned in Ghana. So in my opinion, first of all, I'm not too sure if it's a great idea or not, but a certain part of my mind tells me it probably is a good idea because China is subtly taking over the world's economy. Yeah. It's arguably one of the best economies when you talk about the top 5 economies in the world. What do you think?
Honestly, when I was going through the story, there was one challenge I was seeing because I realized that the students who go out there to China to study and then come back to Uganda, I mean, they find it very difficult to gain employment because what they have learned does not relate or align with the labor market in Uganda. Yeah. And that is very pressing because if there are avenues of collaboration like these and we are infusing your language, I think, and then reading the story, it's something that it's something for both parties, you understand? Yeah. It's an agreement sort of to include China, the Chinese language, into the curriculum. Yeah. And then also, I mean, get students going to China to go and study. But I don't know why now you go out there, you study, you come back to your home country, and it's quite difficult for you to align with the labor market. That's only my only concern. But either than that, I think it's a good idea. It's high time we also embrace learning some of these languages, because you had equally mentioned that China is one of the growing economies that we have. Yeah. Exactly. And you find them in everywhere.
They are everywhere.
Even in Ghana. A lot of projects that are happening in Ghana here, they are the ones, doing it. Yeah. So it's high time we have these exchange programs and those flexibilities. But I wouldn't want a situation whereby a student will go to any country, go and study, come back to their home country to bring that form of development or knowledge. But you realize that you don't meet, or the labor market is not so friendly towards you. Yeah. That is my only challenge, honestly.
So that just tells me that there probably has been a problem with Uganda in terms of how they have approached this, because we saw in the brief again, like you referred, they started with about 30 students. Now there's about 5,000 learners of the language. That's a lot of students or learners doing this. So if the Ugandan employment market is not ready to embrace all of these learners, then there seems to be a problem as to how this project even started in the first place for them to go up to about 5,000. So when the numbers started from 30 and it was going on up to about this 5,000, what was happening? Who was monitoring? Who was watching to see that, okay, the numbers are going, it is great because we started and we wanted this to happen. But what is the aftermath of the learning of the language, where the economy cannot absorb them into the job market? Then that's a failure, if you ask me.
And I think another part of the story is talking about the fact that African students in China grew from roughly 49,800 in 2015 to over 81,500 in 2018. And you realize that same story is talking about the fact that most African students in China actually self-funded, not state-sponsored. So you ask yourself, so why will I self-fund my education in your country? I'm a foreigner, and then I come back to my country and it's difficult. There should be that flexibility to actually bring whatever knowledge I have gained into my country. So I don't know how Uganda is actually open to, I wouldn't say revise, but make the labor market a bit friendly for some of these foreign students. Because either than that, I would go out there, study, and be there. Because my knowledge, the knowledge I have acquired, it is actually from them. So I align so much with them. Rather than coming to my home country and then I don't.
Agree with you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Because if I come back home and then my country's labor market cannot absorb me, I'm better off staying in China or moving on to another province or wherever where this language can be of use. And like I said, China is trying to take over in a lot of areas. It's not only even in the making sure that their language is going worldwide and all of that. So we have already established the fact that they're everywhere right now. So basically it means that wherever you're going, you find a Chinese person, you can do business, you can do anything with them because you have a common language you can speak. So then I feel like if I can be able to go to China and study, I'm practically becoming a global citizen. So nothing should stop me from going forward to go into doing anything in China or anywhere else in the world where I can easily have access to whatever I need to be able to do whatever I need to do. Nonetheless, we have to look at the fact that whether we like it or not, it is becoming a norm. Sometimes we struggle to accept that, for example, people will subtly ask, but when did China also start doing these things? Why are they imposing themselves, in quotes, on people's whatever? But the truth of the matter is that they are becoming one of the world's biggest forces to deal with in everything. That's true. Let's even talk about vehicles in Ghana. Look at the number of brands from China that are.
That's very true.
Lately, one of the biggest conversation is the Jito vehicle, for example. So if you are having all of these things happening, people are fancying all of these things. And I understand even the BYD brand, for example, which also comes from China, is rivaling Tesla in the UK.
Wow.
And it's a big deal. So if this is where we have come to in terms of the economy, you can find them in every side of the economy, infrastructure-wise, because even when it comes to contracts, there are a lot of Chinese contractors in many places in Africa doing many things. So you can, for me right now, it's basically an issue of if you cannot beat them, join them. Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes just difficult to agree or come to terms with that, but the truth is, if you cannot beat them, join them. And I mean, for me as an individual, one of the things I always fancy is that if something is good, something is great, and I weigh the options and it's good enough, I will just align, put myself in a position where I can equally benefit, and then move on from there. I mean, not everybody will be happy about it or may be happy about it, but you have to learn to look at the pros and cons of some of these things and then work with it, because I don't see any way better out of this situation than what we have just talked about here.
Yeah, I think this, just like you have said, the same issue also spans across to US, UK, Germany, France, where we have students going there to go and study. And then they come back here and it feels like they are aliens. I mean, they go back to their home countries and it just feels like you don't even know what's going on. And mind you, I'm not trying to compare education in Africa to education out there. But then again, we realize that they do more than we do. So my question is, if they are doing more and I am there, I have gone to study, why can't I come here and do more? But rather I come here and it's so difficult for me to just settle or align myself. It's kind of, you know,
that's a good
now
question.
time mostly people will finish and then students wouldn't want to come back. They would continue taking opportunities there and rather stay there and then make themselves useful.
I think that the answer to that, I mean, I stand to be corrected, but I think that probably Africa hasn't or is still in that process of growing to accept some of these trainings that we receive in Europe, in America, wherever, you know. So basically that's about it. So I feel like we need to develop ourselves as Africa to welcome some of these ideas from, because
it's high time we best align.
The funny thing is we are actually trying to learn and copy from them. So why are we not being proactive enough?
We are selective in our learning.
Exactly, that's the way.
We don't want to learn the whole, but we just pick and select which ones we want to adopt and then which ones we want to let go.
It's a selective process.
That's the problem.
And it is completely not right. So maybe our educational ministers, in fact, our governments across Africa will have to look into some of these things again, so that when young people from Africa go out there to study and they are coming back, the economies should be able to absorb them. And let's create an environment to be able to make them feel welcome and all of those things. I mean, it's the same way when you go to school outside and you have that education, you are able to easily settle in whichever country you know, you went to study and all of that. So let's make that also possible, because we have already again established that these schools out there somehow are better than or they rank better ahead of the schools, many of the schools in Africa. So I think that this should be a no-brainer. We should be able to work our way around some of these things and we should be good to go. Okay, so we'll jump into the next story, which is we'll come back to Ghana now. So the 23rd Ghana International Book Fair will be held from August 27th to 30th at the National Theatre, with a call for Ghanaians to place reading at the center of national development. So the 4-day event, held under the theme Transforming Ghana's Future Through Books, was launched on Thursday in Accra. So Chairman Edward Uju described books as vessels of knowledge and instruments for shaping minds, saying the fair will bring together publishers, authors, educators, and policy makers, with participants expected from countries including the UK, US, Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa. I can't tell you how excited I am about this.
But when I was reading the story, there was one question that I had. Ghana, do we have something like a book reading? I don't know, but I've been looking for such a gathering where, because I've seen it a few times outside the world, where they have this book reading session. You go, the one person is sitting and then you read, and then there is some form of little discussions intermittently. I don't know if Ghana, we have that. Because honestly, because personally I've been looking for that. But I haven't chanced up on any. But then in the comment section, if anybody can recommend, I'll be very glad to experience that in Ghana.
I mean, that's a fair question, because I've asked myself this question before. So in my local church, a few years ago, when I was an executive in the youth body, at the time. We instituted that in there. So I think on Mondays and Wednesdays, we had an online WhatsApp meeting where there's always a book you read in a month. So you would read whatever you read, and at the time between 7 and 8 p.m. on those days, you just come to share whatever you have read. So it was quite different from what you saw, where people sit together and read.
Yeah,
but
just a few.
We just make the book available and say, okay, maybe today we are reading chapter 1. So everybody goes through it, and then we come to discuss. And I loved it because a few people were influenced by it, and they have somehow changed their lives, because the kind of books we read were quite transformative because of the things that people that. And the reason I'm excited about it is because there's this saying that if you want to hide something from a black person,
put it in a
book.
book. Yeah,
and
blacks, we don't like reading. We
it's
don't
sad.
like reading.
It's sad, but I'm glad that I'm one person who loves to read. So the way I think, at least in the last 10 years, has changed largely because of the kind of books I read, and the kind of things that I chance upon videos, but largely on books that I read. So I'm excited about it, and I just hope that we find the positives in these things rather than making it look like, there's the tendency among young people, when you are always finding yourself in a space where you are reading or you're in a library, they make it look like, are you the only person who wants to be smart? And they try to shade you in a certain way, gaslight you in a certain way.
That's true.
It's crazy stuff. But I feel like the best way to educate yourself is through reading. And knowledge is one thing nobody can take away from you.
That's true.
You learn a lot when you read.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, in a broader context, bothers me is that a lot of young people, particularly in Africa, do not like to read. They will come up with excuses and all of these things. One of the things that motivated me to read was, as far back in 2000, I think 2008, there were about when former US President Barack Obama was president. He released a list of books then on Twitter that he had read in a certain year. And I asked myself, this guy is the world's busiest human being, arguably.
But he's
and has
reading
a list of books he has read. Not long, I saw another one from his wife, Michelle. And I'm thinking, these guys are just too busy to be reading. And at the time, I didn't have a job. And I was asking myself, then why am I wasting my life? That's when I started thinking about all of these things. Books. And then, so one of the first books I read was even Obama's book. I think, is it Dreams of My Father or something? So one of my first books that I consciously read, and it just changed everything about how I process, So I feel like this is a very good thing. I mean, Mr. Oju has framed all of this in a certain way, saying that it's a national invitation to rediscover reading and knowledge. I think everybody knows this. We shouldn't be told.
It's just unfair that I'm really looking forward to how this is going to be done, because honestly, even in our groups, I have been a part of a WhatsApp group where we did the same thing that you did, but it wasn't a church group. But we read a book and then we come to discuss. And you realize that some people will not even join the discussion.
Oh, yeah. There's always a group of people who won't.
Exactly. You see, in our own small way, we try to inculcate these habits into ourselves and the larger community. But then again, you still find some of these people who are less interested in some of these. So honestly, I'm looking forward to how this will be done, because reading is good. No matter what you are reading, you can read a newspaper, you can read a book, you can read anything readable. Just read, honestly, because your knowledge is expanded. Like you tend to, just like you said, how you see things, how you perceive knowledge and everything tends to change when you read more. So honestly, it's a good initiative, if you ask me. But I'm just looking forward to how it would turn out.
One of the things that came up in this story also is that there's a decline in national reading habits. And
of course,
one of the things that largely accounts to it, especially amongst young people, is the surge of social media.
Yes.
And if you, I know you do all with social media, so I see a lot of things that you do on LinkedIn, the kind of things you post. So look at the content that you even put out. Very motivational, encouraging, life lessons and all of those things. Let's compare that to the number of people that are producing even TikTok videos, whatever, reels and all of these things. Those content are beginning to become more,
to sell more than the
ones that
readable.
Yes, the readable ones. So is the reason a platform like X has less people making followers there because there's always a lot of intellectual banter going on.
Yes.
So a lot of people do
If you
not
are
even
not-
want to
yeah,
engage on X.
if
They
you are
prefer to
not
be on
online.
TikTok, they prefer to be
Yes.
on Snap, they prefer to be on Facebook, where there's, let me
Some
say,
form
in
of
quote, less
flexibility
and
all
less
that, yeah.
intellectual conversation. So it just tells you that indeed the national
There is
reading
a-
habit is
yeah.
declining, which is completely wrong. And I have a problem with that because we call the young people the leaders of tomorrow. How are you going to
So
be
if the
leading
leaders
when
of tomorrow
are not educating themselves? They are not reading. How are you going to lead?
if the leaders of tomorrow are not reading, then we
Yeah.
have a big
I
problem.
mean, one of the best
honestly.
things you can do for yourself, even
Is
as
to
a
read.
person who aspires to lead, is to lead yourself.
Yeah.
You're not leading yourself properly. How are you going to lead not only as maybe at a national level, but even in your family, in your small local church,
Yeah.
wherever you find yourself?
Now people find those, excuse me, let me say, the big books a bit boring.
Yes.
And would rather want somebody to go and read and then come and share
give a
their
summary.
perspective
Yes.
on social media, like the TikTok, because
Yeah.
there are accounts that do that. Somebody
yeah,
will read
yeah.
the Bible, somebody will read a story, and somebody will read something and then come and tell you their perspective. And you realize that, you know, you end up taking that person's perspective
Exactly.
because you
Yes.
haven't read
Yeah.
to actually gain
Yeah.
what you want to gain.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah,
honestly.
so I feel like this is a very good initiative, and so young people would have to embrace it, get into it, and make sure that they are turning their lives around, because the things that personally I have learned for myself to build myself as a young person, I mean, I can't begin to share that testimony here. So anyway, so the 27th Ghana International Book Fair is being pitched as more than a trade event. Organizers are framing books and reading as infrastructure for Ghana's development. And at the moment, when both declining reading habits and the rise of AI are reshaping what publishers need to look like next. Anyway, before we get away from this story, people are also making arguments about AI and how it's also generating content. And but I find it, I mean, excuse me to say, I feel like it's an excuse people are trying to make.
How?
In the sense that, look, I know AI is doing a lot.
Yeah.
It's generating a lot. So people are trying to create that difference about the fact that some maybe writings may not be authentic, may not be original, is AI generated.
It's AI generated.
But we keep forgetting that the prompts are entered by people.
Yes, who want what they want.
Exactly. I know what I'm looking for. Probably I may not have or I'm lacking something in my acumen that will not allow me to fully, put whatever I'm looking for in perspective.
Yeah.
So if I engage AI and put in a prompt, and AI gives me a response, it does not necessarily mean that this is not my content. I'm
It's
the one that
actually yours.
exactly.
Yeah.
I put in the prompt. I put in all of the parameters I'm looking for.
Yes.
If
and
it doesn't give me what I'm
creates.
looking for, I'll have to, because you can put in some of these and that can even give you references, so that you can refer to these references and then make sure that, okay, what you're looking for, especially if you have to try to do a review of some things that are already existing. So I feel like people should embrace some of these things, and then let's walk away from all of these things. I mean,
And the funny thing is that I don't know if people are still not accepting the fact that AI has come to stay, because
as for that one,
regardless
I tell you,
of how
people-
we want to turn the story or turn the table, AI has come to stay. And just like you said, it is up to us to, and the other part of it is that I think mostly when people generate things from AI, people have the perception that after it is being generated for you, people do not do anything to it.
True.
It is just picked and dumped.
Yeah.
So in other words, these are AI generated content. So why do I have to? You get that's where the problem is also coming
this
from.
point is giving me an idea.
Yeah.
And the idea simply is that, you see, a lot of students are the ones, I mean, again, I stand to be corrected, are the ones guilty of copying and pasting.
Yeah, so
because they are doing
just
lazy
feels
work.
like everyone
Yeah, so they
is
feel like
doing
every
it.
other person is doing the same, which is not true. I mean, this is largely not true. So young people in Africa, look,
We
embrace
need to
this
start
culture.
reading.
Yeah, this is a Ghana story, but I mean, you're watching us across Africa and across the world. If you're young, I mean, and if you mean transcend beyond Africa, any person who's hearing or watching this right now, as young as you are, I mean, get into reading, and then you change your life. All right, so we'll get into the next story. Also still in Ghana, and then this one is about the Ghana Federation of Disability. Okay, so Ghana must move formulating Ghana must move beyond formulating disability-related policies to ensuring their effective implementation if persons with disabilities are to enjoy equal rights and opportunities, the Ghana Federation of Disability Organization has said. This call was made at a 2-day capacity building program on designing disability-friendly laws, policies, and services organized in Akosombo with support from the European Union. The Federation said the true test of disability inclusion was whether policies translated into accessible services, infrastructure, education, employment, and social protection. We have done a similar thing here before.
I mean, we keep doing similar things when it
Yes.
comes to people with disabilities.
So I think that based on just what you have said, I can easily draw the line to say that if it keeps coming back, then it means that progress on
It's not being made.
It's not being made.
Yeah, I think there are, just like the story had indicated, there are a lot of initiatives when it comes to people with disabilities, but we still walk around and realize that it is still not friendly enough for people with disabilities. Look at our roads. Look at our, I mean, our roads. A lot of things are just not disability friendly. But there are laws, or I mean, there are
policies and frameworks.
Exactly. But then they are not being implemented. I think largely, I wouldn't lie, one problem I've had with Ghana is our implementation. When it comes to implementation, we have so many ideas. Today, this person is doing this. Today, there is a policy. There is a this. But when it comes to implementation, you hardly see so much like when it is coming up, and then I mean the policy is all being put together. So I mean, if this is still coming back, then just like you said, then there is still a lot to do.
There's still a lot to do. I mean, the president of the GFD says that. And he's not only saying, but I think that a lot of people, or all of us, will agree that providing services to persons with disability should be a right and not a privilege. They are human beings. They only have a certain form of disability. And sometimes I feel like naturally we forget that they are amongst us in the society, okay? And we put them in the minority, we marginalize them, we stigmatize them. And this is what makes it look like we are doing them a favor, which is wrong. Because the kind of knowledge some of these people have and the things they can do and the things they can share. I know somebody who is a gamer or writes codes for game.
Okay.
Like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Disabled.
Yes. I mean, a person with a certain form of disability or whatever. Like, and person is just fantastic at what she does. So I don't know why we want to keep looking at some of these things as if we are doing them a favor. No.
And you know, the funny thing is that when you look at this on the broader human perspective, it's not really their fault to come out the way they came out.
Exactly.
So when we are treating them, it's just like somebody, I mean, you realize your fellow human, okay, I realize you are not feeling well. I will not, fine, you're not feeling well, but still I see you as, you know, but I don't know why for them, in their case of not being a bit well, it is seen as you can't just involve them in certain things, and you can't just, sometimes when you see them around, even in our environment, you realize that it's just them.
People don't even want to socialize with them. So they are just either socializing among themselves or people who already know them.
Because
are the ones. Regular people, in quotes, will hardly walk to some of these people to even say hello.
Or even be friend.
Or in a certain space, if you find people maybe being there for the first time and people are trying to be friends or trying to make conversation, people will hardly want to even interact. And I find that to be a little bit unfair towards them. And it's not a thing that we should encourage. So, I mean, the beginning of this conversation for me is that let's begin with access to information, access to public buildings, which is a thing that we don't do it many times, which is completely wrong. And let's also give them quality education and decent employment.
You know, when I saw that, I asked myself, is there anybody with disability in Parliament holding any
That's
position
a good question. That's
somewhere?
a good question. Yeah.
Because I think we don't have it.
Yeah.
We don't have it.
So
But
even
you
beyond
see,
Parliament, the public services.
Yes. And you hardly even see some of these people I mean, in those major, I don't want to say major positions, but major areas, actually.
I agree.
You
Completely.
realize they are mostly somewhere, who, and they are not seen. Their knowledge, just like the example you gave, there's this guy who is good at writing codes
for games,
and I mean, in Ghana, we equally need those people.
Yeah.
But I mean, in quotes, because maybe the person is disabled, you realize that some opportunities might just even pass them by because they are not, I mean, up to whatever. But
and this also transcends in leaving them out when it comes to decision making.
Yes.
Because we are
obviously
sidelining them, marginalizing them.
And that is the main reason why we surely forget them. Because if you are sidelining them, obviously when you are taking a decision, you forget that there is somebody who is disabled that you need to consider. Obviously.
So, I mean, a lot of ministries have outlined what they already have in motion. So let's just go through some of them. So the Labor Ministry has set up a disability desk and employment center regionally, though some facilities remain inaccessible. Look at this.
So how do you want me to? How do you want me to?
Come on. And this is crazy because it's coming from the Labor Ministry.
Exactly.
You are responsible for people being employed, looking at employment, whatever conditions, blah, 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 all of these things, anything concerning employment. And then you have
facilities that are not accessible to these.
Okay.
These
I don't
people.
know. I can't hide my disappointment. I'm sorry. And the Education Ministry has projects of over 2,300 students with disabilities benefiting from free tertiary education in the year 2026.
Yeah, I think I heard of that too. There is some form of, I mean, benefits for, I mean, people with disabilities.
And that's a good start.
Honestly,
that's a good start, Now, disability inclusion is now built into the medium-term National Development Policy Framework from 2026 up to 2029, which is also nice.
We hope.
Yes.
We hope.
Just like you said,
we have so many policies and things we do, but when it comes to implementation, it's so much a problem.
And so the Finance Ministry has also pointed where real influence happens. Okay, they are saying that urge OPDs to participate actively in budget consultations. Okay.
Is it feasible?
That's a good question. That is
I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
And I'm agreeing with you that it's a very good question. I mean, is it doable? Is it? I mean, anyway, we can only wait and see at this point. Yeah, that's what I can say.
We are waiting for so many things. We are waiting.
Unfortunately, you can only still wait.
So many things.
Because it still comes back to the issue
Ghana,
of implementation.
I think over the weekend, I saw somebody post something on Twitter and says that, I mean, now X, and says that in Ghana, you have to wait. Like, you have to be patient. There's some form of patience that you need to have when you are in Ghana, because government, everybody is promising something.
Yes.
So if you don't have the patience,
as a matter of fact, as an African, one of the key things you have to develop in your life is patience. If you don't have it, you won't last. You will not last. Yeah. And so, again, the Ministry of Finance has called for evidence-based proposals, not just advocacy. Now, I find it to be ridiculous. Like, why should it be evidence-based? We already know the range or category in which we have put these people in. So I don't know what, unless I'm confused here, but I'm struggling to understand why it has to be evidence-based proposals.
Interesting.
Exactly, interesting.
Very interesting.
And then they have also emphasized documenting the actual impact of disability programs. Okay. We can only say you. So the EU also has a commitment to this, and then they have a 3-year project aimed at strengthening evidence and building capacity. And this is also designed to advance more inclusive laws, policies, and then services. And as part of the central beliefs, PWDs must help shape solutions from the beginning, not just be consulted at the end, which is a fantastic one. Because if you don't involve them from the beginning, how are we even sure that what we are the solution we're trying to offer is going to benefit them? Because if the person is suffering from A and you don't consult them, and you are at the end of whatever meetings you have had and you are about to roll it out and say, okay, this is what we have planned.
Yes,
so
we have planned for you, so you come. I mean,
if you are not involved in the process, how are you even making a contribution to this? So, well, we just hope and pray that some of these things, in fact, all of these things will be properly addressed. So Ghana has no shortage of disability-related policies and frameworks, just like we have talked about.
Yes.
And then what the GFD and its partners are demanding now is proof, access to buildings, real employment numbers, and budget lines that PWDs helped shape from day one, not just documents that say the right things. Absolutely. I can't agree more. Or I couldn't agree more to this. All right, so we'll go into our next story. And the Minister of Youth Development and Empowerment, George Opare Addo, has warned that drug abuse among young Ghanaians is becoming a national crisis, urging families, government institutions, and the youth to work together to confront it. He said substance abuse should no longer be treated as an individual problem, since its effects extend to families and society as a whole. He made a remarks at the National Youth Forum in Accra, held under the theme, A Sound Youth, A Sound Nation, Your Voice, Your Future, Our Ghana. Drug abuse.
Becoming a national crisis.
I agree, because one of the questions I always ask myself when I see people who may have suffered from drug abuse or anything of the sorts is, do they really know if they are abusing drugs? Do they know what has got them at that point?
I think the addictiveness, I mean, you take it one, two, and maybe the way it makes you feel, you would want to take it again and again and again. Let me just make reference to this story. There is a lady on TikTok who, I mean, she takes drugs. I can't really mention some of these drugs that she, I mean, she was interviewed. And then if you see the way the lady look, you could realize that, I think they put, so in the interview, they put a picture of her when she was normal. And then now that she has taken drugs, the way she looks. And you compare, and I asked myself, so when you saw the picture, how did you feel? And you saw yourself. How did you feel? Because apparently she had been taken to the rehabilitation center and she went back to drugs. And then now they are trying to take her back, I mean, to the rehabilitation center again. And I have been following her story for some time now. So recently I saw that she looks, I mean, she's coming back and she can speak English. When the lady is speaking, so I think one of the people who were interviewing her asked if she is a Ghanaian or if she stayed outside before. Apparently, no. She's been in Ghana the whole time. So they asked her, how did you get into drugs? Like, what happened? And then she says, friends, peers. And then she was asked, I mean, you were taken to the rehabilitation center. You were getting better. You came out and you went back again. And he said, friends. And then they asked her, so how sure are we that after taking you back to the rehabilitation center and then you come out, you won't go back to these friends? Because these people are still your friends. And then you are still with them, mingling with them and everything like that. So what's the probability that after we have brought you out of this rehabilitation center, you won't go back? Because when you look at the lady, she's so nice. And I mean, there were a whole lot of questions going on in my head. And then I've seen that, I think Portia also has done some stories on drug abuse in terms of youth. And then somebody took, there's this, when this story came, is it Red? And you find youth who have taken such drugs and literally sleeping while standing.
That's one of the biggest shocks of my life when I saw those videos.
I'm very shocked. And you realize that it is, excuse me to say, it is youth who are in these deprived areas who, excuse me to say, do not have anything that are doing this. So if you do not have anything and you are going through this, how do you expect to come out? Or which money do you want to use to get out of this? You understand? And it's very alarming because just like you said earlier, the future leaders are the youth. And if the youth, first of all, we are not reading. Now we are doing drugs. What kind of future
are you trying to build?
Are we trying to build for the country? It's very alarming, and it's been alarming for some time now.
For so long.
Because when Red came, it's been years. Red came into the system. 2 to 3 years now. Exactly, and where it's not getting funny. I mean, it's not funny anymore. Honestly, it's a national crisis, and it should be treated as such.
So one of the things I think about is, I don't know if people realize that what the minister is saying is right, that it's a national problem.
Yes.
Because if you think about an individual going through this, well, you might think, okay, well, I don't know this person, I'm not related, I've just seen a video online, no problem. You see, this person is still degenerating into something we don't like. Before you know it, maybe they have left home, they are no longer with their families. It becomes the headache of the family because they've been looking for them, they can't find them, things of this nature. The family is suffering. If you're not careful, friends, whatever, can lead them into things like robbery, rape, all the social vices you can think about. Okay, and these people, unfortunately, may become a menace in society because then they begin to attack people, they begin to do
social vices,
all sort of things to people. So I don't know if people think about it in that way. So if you, like you just talked about this lady and how friends have influenced her, I feel like people should just learn to cut people off when they are not being of good influence in their lives.
But you see, I think it's more than that, because if I'm done with school and I have something to do, I don't think I would have friends who will be doing this. Because if my friends, we are done with school, my friends are going to school, I am going to school, I'm working or I'm doing something, I don't think we would even have friends of such nature in the environment.
That's true.
So it boils down to the fact that sometimes some of these, I mean, the fact that we don't have employment, people are not able to cater for certain things, some of these basic needs of life. Now you realize that they are with friends. So whatever my friend is doing, just like you said, they will move from their parents' home, now be staying with friends. So now I'm with my friends. So whatever they are doing, I'm doing it. And if you are not strong enough to be that person who is not easily influenced, then obviously whatever your friends are doing, you end up doing it. But I think if there are employment opportunities, basic needs for some of these families or some of these youth or young people, I don't think some of these abuse of drugs or people who are abusing drugs should be that bad to the extent that now it turns into a national crisis or it turns into, I mean, a whole fight that we need to fight as a nation.
So, I mean, the government is trying to take steps to curb some of these things.
Hope we are not too late, honestly.
Oh, to be honest,
we may
be. We may be late. That's the truth. So, regardless, the government is trying to do something. The other responsibilities, I think, lies between parents and individuals or young people. So, parents, this will come to the point of upbringing. But I know that to a large extent, sometimes beyond upbringing, the children leave home when they go to secondary schools, for example. And many times, these are the places where some of these things begin
the university.
And the universities, because there's a lot more freedom in these places. So I agree with the influence of friends and this. So this is where some of these things begin. So there may be parents who think that their kids are good because the way they brought them up at home,
they believe that
it's great. Then they don't have the slightest idea that they could be doing some of these things in school. So sometimes even when they get to hear or get to know, they are shocked. You know, so no matter how much you train your kid, maybe at this point you must include some spiritual intervention where you will be asking God for a certain level of wisdom for them, where, I mean, nobody can poison their minds or convince them to do otherwise. Because I feel like it's the only way out, because you can't have complete oversight over your kids.
Over your kids.
That's why the other responsibility lies with the young people.
Individual.
So we need to think as young people. I mean, now I'm forced to preach here. The Bible says something about everything being, you have, I mean, I'm trying to paraphrase. Everything is permissible, but not everything is, I can't remember the last whatever, but you are permitted to do stuff, but not all things are beneficial. So once you're permitted, yes, look at what you're about to do. You are permitted to do it because you have your will. How beneficial is it to you? What's the end goal of what you're trying to do? You know, gone were the days when I was growing up, or when we're growing up, I used to hear that people say when they get high and they steady,
it
sticks.
Yeah, it sticks.
And I'm thinking, like, when you're high,
and you steady.
like, I had to process it for myself. When you are high, you are probably hallucinating, you are thinking stuff. And you see people who are high. I wonder what you are going to tell me, how you are going to convince me that this person who is high, and we are both studying the same thing, that this person would probably assimilate whatever they are studying better than I am my normal frame. Like, so these are some of the things individuals need to do for themselves. You need to put the differences in there. Process everything.
Yeah.
You are being influenced, no problem. But think about it. What is the effect of it? The person, even look at the life of the person that's trying to influence you. How great is their life? You know, these are some of the things that young people should be looking at. So I think that young people will have a lot more responsibility over their lives to be able to look at these things.
I agree, because just like you said, your parents can do everything, but if you, the individual, you are not disciplined enough to take the right choices, then I think everything that your parents do becomes nothing.
I've had this conversation in another jurisdiction where somebody was saying that let's even compare some children of pastors, okay, and then some of these pastors' children become the most rewarded ones you can even ever think about.
That's true. And I hear people say that.
Yeah, and I made the difference that you go beyond even pastors and look at a lot of so-called society big men and women and how their children have turned out.
There's a name that just came, but
exactly,
I don't want
but I also
to.
don't want names are coming up, but I just don't want to mention anybody's family or anything.
Yeah, but
I mean, on this program. So you think about it and you feel like, no, then that is where it goes beyond the upbringing and the spirituality or whatever. So look, young people must just be responsible for themselves, because you again, I'm tempted to preach. Look, at the end of your life, how do you want to be remembered? You know, how do you want to be remembered? I mean, anyway, so the end of the matter is this. This forum, okay, that's the Honorable Minister has talked about links to issues that are often treated separately, the drug abuse and the youth unemployment. And the one message, it is young Ghanaians need boots protection from emerging threats like colus, which is another kind of drug, and a real economic opportunity, and government wants concrete, honest feedback on what's actually working, not another round of applause. Anyway, so we'll bring this segment to a close, and we'll go for a quick break. When we come back, Jemima will take us to the lifestyle segment. Stay tuned, we'll be back.
Applications are now open for the 2026-2027 African Union Enterprise African Network Fellowship Program. The Enterprise African Network Fellowship Program is an AUC startup acceleration initiative and the African Union's flagship program for the development of micro, small, and medium enterprises. Implemented by the AU Commission's Department of Economic Development, Trade, Tourism, Industry, and Minerals, the program provides Africa's most promising entrepreneurs with structured training, expert mentorship, intellectual property support, and direct market access opportunities across the continent and beyond. Application deadline is 30th September 2026. For more information, visit the official webpage of the African Union Enterprise African Network Fellowship Program.
Applications are now open for the 2026-2027 Award Leadership Program for Emerging African Women in Science. The Award Leadership Program for Emerging African Women in Science is a customized learning experience for young African women in science under 35. The program will equip participants with the skills and confidence to lead and innovate in the scientific world. The program, funded by the Andrew Carnegie Foundation, formerly Carnegie Corporation of New York, and implemented by African Women in Agriculture Research and Development, seeks to build a pool of capable, confident, influential young women scientists equipped to excel in agricultural sciences, thrive in leadership roles, and champion gender integration in agriculture. Application deadline is September 20, 2026, East African Time. For more information, visit the official webpage of the Award Leadership Program for Emerging African Women in Science. Applications are now open for the 2026 EGN Virtual Media Workshop on Mining, Environment and Human Rights Reporting in Africa. Internews' Air Journalism Network, EJN, is hosting a 3-day virtual media workshop on November 3 to 5, 2026, to strengthen the capacities of journalists in 4 African countries, Ghana, Uganda, Democratic Republic of Congo, and South Africa to report on issues relating to mining, the environment, and human rights. EGN welcomed applications from freelance reporters and staff from all types of media organizations, community-based, local, national, and international. EJN especially encourage women, rural, indigenous, and early career journalists to apply. Application deadline is September 6, 2026. For more information, visit the official webpage of the EGN Virtual Media Workshop on Mining, Environment, and Human Rights Reporting in Africa.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Hello, Africa. Keep watching AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Welcome back from the break, and this is still the Hello Africa Morning Show. My name is Jemima Deladem Doche, and you're welcome to the lifestyle segment. Before we go into the lifestyle segment, I want to read some comments that we had. This is from Kobe K. Brimpon, and he says that for the state, managing how that language is integrated is a delicate art of balancing foreign diplomatic relations with the national economic sovereignty. That's good. Yeah. And then this is from Esinam, and then it says that greetings to Philemon and Jemima. In my opinion, persons with disabilities are still not given enough attention in our society, especially when it comes to policies, infrastructure, and even our neighborhoods. Sometimes we try to help. It can feel like a pity to them. I believe what they really need is not pity, but respect, dignity, equal opportunity, and an environment where they can participate fully in society. Disability inclusion should not be something we talk about in policies. We should see it in our everyday lives. True. I think this is quite what we've been talking about. So
quite a good summary, if you ask me.
Honestly, yes, it is. So we'll go straight to our stories for today for lifestyle. And our first story is actually on YouTube and Netflix battle for top creators. So YouTube is currently, is reportedly offering multi-million-dollar incentives to selected creators to keep their content exclusive on the platform as Netflix expands its push into creator-led programming. The reported offers come amid growing competition for some of the biggest names in the online creator economy, with Netflix pursuing personalities and programs including Miss Rahel, Salish Mata, the Bill Simons podcast, and the Breakfast Club. The developments highlight a growing battle between traditional streaming platforms and digital platforms for creator talent, exclusive content, and audience. As video podcast and creator-led entertainment continue to attract large audience, both YouTube and Netflix are are looking to strengthen their position in an increasingly competitive digital market, entertainment market. This is quite interesting. I don't know why YouTube, Netflix. I don't know
I have an idea.
Where did we get to? Where did we come from?
I have an idea,
What's your
but
idea?
I may be wrong. So this is how I understand it. We are talking about digital content creators here.
Yes.
And largely we know YouTube for content creators, largely. And I feel like Netflix may think that they are losing out. I stand to be corrected, because to be honest, some people have very great content on YouTube and other online platforms, but you know YouTube is the biggest one. So like some of the examples you mentioned, the podcast by Bill Simons and the Breakfast Club, I've watched one or two of them. Like, it's really interesting. And even the Miss Rachel, whatever. So basically, I feel like maybe Netflix and they may be losing out, because again, everything for me is about the content creator, the content they are creating, and the numbers, the following.
But
so I feel like they may also want that kind of traction to their end.
But Netflix and YouTube, I feel like YouTube is, just like you said, is more geared towards content creation.
Yes.
But then again, people have their movies and everything there. And Netflix equally has their page. I don't know why they're trying to infuse. I don't see Netflix more or less like a content generated site, like a site to put your content, apart from movies, of course, which are equally content. I don't see people like the way YouTube, you have short videos of somebody telling you something, somebody visiting somewhere and trying to put a video together. I don't see that on Netflix. So I don't know why Netflix, YouTube are trying to do this.
I equally do not understand, but I just feel like it's a game of numbers, because for me, if the content is good and people are consuming it on YouTube, and assuming that same content is on Netflix, I mean, people can equally go there, you know, and watch, and it will give them the traction that they are looking for. And mind you, when these people are looking at the same content on Netflix, you are still on the interface of Netflix. So chances are that you can look at other content still on Netflix. So I feel like it's a game of numbers. They are looking for the numbers, they are looking for the subscribers, and they don't want to lose out.
But let me ask you this one on a personal note. Between YouTube and then Netflix, which of these platforms do you think is more good when it comes to content creation and has the numbers?
Well, I think YouTube has it. Honestly.
YouTube has the numbers.
Yeah, I think YouTube has
both it. And has the content creators there. So that means YouTube has more than Netflix.
Yeah.
But then again, people equally watch Netflix when it's necessary.
Absolutely.
So that's why I find
so I feel like when it comes to the niche, that's where the thing is coming from. So maybe Netflix wants
to.
I don't know.
But towards content creation.
Unless there's something that we don't understand yet. But I feel like they should focus on their niche.
Exactly.
Keep it just the way it is, and then what they're already doing, movies, short movies, documentaries. Some of these special things. I feel like if you do these things, it becomes more. What's the word I'm looking for? It becomes more exclusive to you. Than you're trying to diversify and now it's beginning
just
to look
because
like
you feel like a platform is
maybe we should just leave YouTube to do what they're doing, because they have mastered whatever they're doing.
Don't try. You should definitely.
But anyhow, this pans out on a larger scale. I would like to see what Netflix has in mind on a serious note, because now when it comes to the digital creation space, a whole lot is happening, and because of the era in which we are in the AI technology, AI blah blah blah. Like, I want to see what they are thinking about, because when I think back many years of how Facebook started and the things that they are doing now, I never thought that we could be seeing similar characteristics of YouTube and Facebook at the moment. So I really would want to see if indeed they are serious about this. But I feel like in business or whatever you are doing, your niche is what sells for you. So
don't try and push into somebody's.
But anyhow it pans out, I would just want to see what they are thinking in their minds and how this thing is going to pan out, because I mean, these are two great platforms. We consume content from all of these platforms. So I don't know.
But let me ask you, there's a question here. Do you think YouTube can maintain its dominance if its biggest creators begin moving their content elsewhere?
I think they can.
Really?
And probably is the reason why we are even discussing this now.
Yes.
And they are offering incentives. So, I mean, incentives, one may be asking, how long can you incentivize people to keep their content with you and not give it to Netflix? That's one. Because
but why would Netflix also go now taking content creators? I mean,
that's what I told you. They are looking for the content, number one. They are looking for the numbers. They are looking for the subscribers.
They should maintain their movie standards.
Look, you know there are people on YouTube who have followings of several millions of people. Now, let's translate all of these followings of maybe, let's say, averagely, maybe one person has a following of maybe, okay, Grace. Let's do this. Somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay.
Imagine he has a YouTube channel.
He's
one of the biggest what's it called, influencers on Instagram. So imagine those numbers are reflecting on Netflix. And there's content of Cristiano Ronaldo on Netflix. Imagine the kind of people who are going to be there. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I get it.
It's a game of numbers, if you ask me. And the subscribers, all of these things is basically business for me. So that's why I'm saying that I'm looking for that part of the deal where if you are able to get the content to your end, what exactly is going to be different from the YouTube platform that will make me wake up and say that even though I'm used to YouTube and consuming this podcast there, now I want to watch it on Netflix. I want to see what the difference will be.
Well,
you know, that's what is very important for me. I'm not just thinking about, okay, here and no. I can consume the content anywhere, but give me a reason that will convince me that I have to look at it on Netflix, because I've been watching this already on YouTube.
Yeah.
So give me a reason. So I'm looking for that thing.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Let's look at, I mean, what exclusivity means for creators and then audience. You know, exclusivity deals can provide creators with significant financial security.
Sure.
And then, however, creators may also have to sacrifice access to audience on other platforms. And also there is the fact that audience could also face a more fragmented viewing experience as content becomes locked into different services.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah. So look at already the in quote inconveniences we are outlining already. That's why I'm saying that I maintain my stand on this. I'm looking forward to, if this is really serious, I want to see what Netflix will do differently. Because I mean, you can never tell.
Well, maybe they have something.
Because you can never tell. Because a lot is happening.
What different thing that is not happening that Netflix
that's why I want to see, because there's a lot happening in the digital space right now. So I'm just looking forward to it. If it happens, I want to see what the difference will be. Yeah.
Let's look at the future of the creator economy, right? So this development shows how economic and cultural influence online creators now command.
Exactly.
Honestly, I think online creators are now commanding so much
than
even the traditional media, normal TV stations and all that.
That's why now traditional media has also gotten into social media. So you have people doing breakfast shows on radio, but it is live on YouTube. So that's how crazy this is. So now you understand why Netflix wants a part of this.
Now let me join you. Let's see what Netflix really has for us.
Yeah.
And also there are platforms are increasingly competing not just for films and television programs, but for personalities with loyal audience.
So
like Ronaldo.
The numbers, loyal audiences. So with the numbers.
Interesting. And then the creator may increasingly become the most valuable part of the content itself.
Yeah.
I mean, so with YouTube reportedly offering millions to keep top creators exclusive while Netflix continues to pursue digital talent, are creators becoming the new power players on the global entertainment industry? That's a big
It's an absolute yes.
Of course.
It's an absolute yes. Because, Charlie, even brands now are doing stuff with content creators, influencers.
And now you realize that even those with the traditional media are moving are moving towards social media, creating content and still maintaining their
their originality and all of that. Yeah. So it's a big yes. Absolutely.
Anyways, that's quite interesting. But then, just like we said, let's see what Netflix has for us.
Offer,
yeah. So let's move on to our next story, talking about Chidinma Adesina challenges deportation decision. So South African beauty queen Chidema Adesina is challenging a decision declaring her a prohibited person in South Africa, insisting that she was born in the country and has followed the proper legal process to establish her citizenship. A government case seeking her detention was postponed, with the matter expected to return to court in February 2027. The 25-year-old, who was born in Soweto and raised in Cape Town, has faced questions over her nationality since her participation in the 2024 Miss South Africa competition. Her South African identity and travel documents were later revoked following allegations involving her mother, whose South African citizenship was also revoked in 2025. The dispute has now shifted to her right to remain in South Africa. Authorities have also argued that she returned to the country unlawfully after competing in and winning Miss Universe Nigeria in 2024. She has rejected that position and remains free as her legal challenge continues. Why are you laughing?
I am confused.
I think her name is playing a role, and the fact that she went in to win Miss Universe Nigeria.
Okay. So I'm thinking many things. That's why I'm confused. So, okay, let me make my submission. Maybe you will understand.
Sure.
Me. So, she is South African.
Yes.
But competes for Miss Universe Nigeria.
Exactly.
And wins it.
And
then now, my first question is, what are the parameters governing Miss Universe Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay, like, are you supposed to be a Nigerian?
Or, yeah.
I mean, so even a Nigerian, what defines a Nigerian?
A Nigerian.
Are you supposed to be born
by
in Nigeria
blood or by
adoption
or
adoption or by blood? Like, we need to define all of those things, because she was born in South Africa.
Yes.
What makes you a South African? Is it by birth? Is it by blood? Is it by whatever? So these are the things I'm looking for. And how come this
How did we
issue,
get here?
exactly, how did we get there? Because if we are not able to tell clearly what makes you a South African, what makes you a Nigerian, I don't know, because I'm struggling to understand how she goes to do Miss whatever in Nigeria and then comes to South Africa to want to do Miss South Africa as well. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but then I don't know. I also I mean, align with the questions you're asking, because if I'm telling you I'm a South African and then I go stand for Nigeria, I mean, what is involved and what is not involved. But then again, I feel it's too drastic looking at the measures being taken. Her citizenship being revoked. I think South Africa is a bit doing much nowadays.
They are doing too much.
Because to the extent that the mother's citizenship has also been revoked. Somebody who is there, because the child is going through this, you thought or you think of also revoking the mother's citizenship. But I mean, South Africa, I don't know. But there's a question here: what determines citizenship for someone born in South Africa with their parents, and then having a foreign nationality?
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
And I also realize the name is so much giving her out.
Yeah, more of Nigerian
than South Africa, if you ask me. And it says that being born in South Africa does not automatically guarantee citizenship.
Okay, that's one.
Okay, citizenship by birth depends partly on the legal status of parents. That's also.
So maybe that's where the mother's thing comes in.
Yes. Yeah. And then there is the last one that says this: the case has therefore raised broader questions about birthright citizenship and migration law. Honestly, I think this is something every country. I mean, when you are born, I think in the US, when you are born there, you automatically become a citizen.
Yeah, but that thing is under contest at the moment. But I think there's no ruling on it yet. But I think maybe let's see. Hopefully by the end of the year, maybe there should be clarity on it. But as of now, if you're born in the US, I think that you are a citizen, and when your parents are American as well,
yes, you are automatically a citizen.
Yeah, so that one is quite clear. So we'll see how it works out probably by the end of the year, because it's still under contention.
And I think Chidima also withdrew from the 2024 Miss South Africa competition amid the nationality controversy. And then she later competed in Miss Universe Nigeria, which she won. So why did you... no, but if you know you are a South African and you have, I mean,
look,
you are in a competition, why do you
know yourself?
Withdraw and then go stand with Nigeria and then now you win and South Africans are actually arguing that, then I mean
okay, at this point I don't mean to be cynical or I mean for any bad reason, but maybe Miss Adichina probably is a pageant person and likes to do these things. And
yeah,
so
but you were in South Africa, so why do you move to Nigeria?
So for me, let's just say that she's somebody that likes to do pageantry and all of those things.
But even if you want to do pageantry, there are a lot of pageantry
so that's what I'm coming
in the country. Yes, so why do you move?
Yeah, so find something, maybe if you're still with South Africa, find something
because
there.
If you can do Miss South
Africa, there are a lot of other things that you can do with regards to you know, any kind of pageant show to go on apart from Miss South Africa. Don't probably travel out of South Africa and say I'm going to do Miss Nigeria or Miss
Ghana
or whatever because you can, or maybe partially, maybe a certain part of you is from Nigeria. Let's define those things. Then we know that, okay, because I don't know for sure if this pageantry allows people to do, what's it called? They do, what am I looking for? The nationality thing. I don't know. For example, how it works in football. If I mean, in football, for example, if you are, I know you're Ghanaian for sure, but if you are, let's say if you had a parent who is Ghanaian and then another parent who is German, and you decide to play for Germany, once you kick the ball at the senior national level for Germany, you can't play for Ghana. That's how it works in football. So maybe these ones too should have a certain parameter that would define some of these things. And then we know that once you have done this here, you're not allowed to do this here. Then maybe then that's about it. So that maybe people who may be struggling to, you know, make decisions around these things.
Obviously.
You know. But I think you have a comment from the first story. If you can look at it.
Okay, so that's for the Netflix and YouTube.
Yes, the first story.
Okay, this is from Kweku, and then it says that in my opinion, it is interesting to see Netflix, a platform known for high-quality productions, increasingly looking towards YouTube creators and content. Exactly. I think this shows how much YouTube media landscape is changing. YouTube creators already have audience, understand what people want to watch, and know how to tell stories that keep viewers engaged. For me, it is a sign that great production is no longer only about expensive cameras and big studios. The story, creativity, audience, and ability to connect with the people matter just as much. But then again, there are content on Netflix that equally appeals and trends
and equally is exclusive to Netflix.
And they've been trending when this South Africa movie came. Is it
The Polygamist?
Yes. It was trending for
Yeah.
So I don't know why they want to move it. But then again, let's come back. So now still on Miss Chidinma with regards to South Africa and Nigeria. Let's look at the xenophobia and then public reactions.
Okay.
I mean, xenophobic attacks have been happening in South Africa a long time. I think it's still happening, obviously. So protesters from the anti-migrant group march gather outside courts calling for her deportation. And then she's been warned against allowing xenophobia and misinformation to influence the case. And also her experience has reignited debates about attitudes towards migrants and people of foreign descent in South Africa.
I'm not surprised.
Exactly.
I'm not surprised.
This is meant to be what is meant to be.
Yeah.
But what next? I mean, that's the question everybody has to ask.
Yeah.
The government's detention case has been postponed, and then she remains free while she pursues a separate legal review for the Home Affairs decision. And also, this case is expected to return to court in February 2027.
That's long. I wish this thing could have been done earlier. I want to see the end of this matter. Yeah.
So, looking at it, with the matter now before the court, should public opinion take a back seat and allow the legal process to determine her status? Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
This is where the legal whatever process must go on, because maybe it will come with the issues of defining the parameters of what qualifies you to do Miss South Africa and what defines the whatever to do Miss Universe.
I think countries
in
need to
Nigeria.
really roll out
Yes.
these things so
Yeah.
that if you are doing or if you are taking part in some of these activities, you know where you can go beyond and where you are actually blocked. And
if governments will not do these things, the organizers of these shows should
also state those parameters.
I think that sometimes we leave it to assumption and then we make you feel like, okay, you should know already, that kind of thing. For example, when you look at what TV3 does, Ghana's Most Beautiful, it says Ghana's Most Beautiful. So I assume that it tells you that you should be Ghanaian.
Yeah,
okay?
It's for Ghanaian.
So now it gives me that vibe to think if somebody is Ghanaian maybe because her father is Ghanaian and then her mother is probably Nigerian, does she qualify to do that?
To do that.
You know, so these are some of the things the organizers, if the governments won't do that, the organizers are the ones to put in the parameters and define it properly so that any contestant that is coming in knows the rules, and then we don't have some of these things because because it's leading to other things. This is xenophobic, whatever. I mean, I don't think it's right.
Yeah,
so
South Africa, obviously.
yeah. So I mean, let's find a solution to some of these things so that then we are not left with questions and things of that nature. So yeah, I think the organizers should come up with something.
That has been two interesting stories for lifestyle, if you ask me. Thank you so much for staying with us. This has been the Hello Africa Morning Show. My name is Jemima Deladem Doche, and I did this with
Philemon Edwards.
Have a lovely day and see you same time next time. Bye.